Nankishore Swami, and today we would be learning about setting up a 19.1 runtime machine. So it's for RPA. So this machine we would be setting for the RPA. So let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and just unzip the runtime media zip file, and just locate the file name called Pega robot runtime setup.exe. Just right click on that and run as administrator. So once you see this page, welcome install page, just click on next, click on next. And if you see these pop-ups, just click on I agree and install. So the version that I'm installing right now is 19.1.10. And click on close. Again, just I agree, click on install. So it's just installing certain .NET frameworks. Click on close. Yeah, these .NET frameworks are basically kind of dependent files. So now it is asking us to install the native foundation. We don't really need to install these individual files separately. We can have just only if you run or execute the Pega robot runtime setup.exe file, then it will automatically trigger the other dependent files, other three dependent. One is native foundation, RPA service, and synchronization engine. So click on next, I agree, and next. So it will install the native foundation. Click on finish. So now it has launched the synchronization server, synchronization engine basically. So click on I agree, next, next. And if you want to create the shortcut, so you can choose it appropriately, click on next. And then here we need to set up or the pass on the synchronization server URL. So if you remember in the last tutorial, we set up the synchronization server on this machine there on the port 5001, and the URL that we can also check, the synchronization server URL, that is here, that we mention in the server status. So if you go to inetpub on your server, go to server status and app setting JSON file. There you can see sync server URL. So just copy this and paste it here. We need to add on API -v1. Click on next and install. There we go. So we are done setting up this synchronization engine. Click on finish. So now it's asking us to set up the actual runtime. Click on next, I agree, next, and RPA service. Since this machine we are setting it as a RPA runtime machine, so we'll set it up yes. Click on next. The office version, just select the office version which is installed on this machine. Click on next. Now we want to set up the or enable the robot manager connectivity. So just pass on this robot manager URL here, then package server URL. So the package server is also here, we can get it. So just copy the Pega server URL and paste it there. Uh, the problem is we also have our robot manager set up on the same machine, but if we run it, then our machine is going basically to not responding. It has a less RAM or the CPU. So I'm just keeping it as a default for now and click on next. Now, here it's asking for setting up the identity authentication. So we don't have this set up it yet. So we'll just keep it unchecked and next. Here, if it's asking us to create or build it as a RDA runtime machine. So that's not the case. We are setting it up as a RPA machine. So we'll keep it unchecked. Click on next. So this is the for our Agile desktop. You can keep it as a by default and default location. You can check on these too if you use Google Chrome or Firefox. Then next and install. Click on next on the RPA service. Now it would be installing the RPA service. Click on next, next, next. Keep this default, these configurations. This one is as default, or you can change it here the work group. Uh, the whatever work group your case is on the robot manager. So say for example we are using the same customer service work group, or if you want to make some changes you can do it. Then click on next, and this robot name would be the this environmental variable of machine name, and the RPA service operator would be RPA operator. Click next and install. Click on finish. And finish. So this is how you can install Pega Robotic Runtime 19.1 point any of the other version X, I would say. Um, so once you install, and if you want to move this machine or this runtime machine from one group to another work group, then go ahead and just change this setting in your program data folder. So now the config file is under the program data, then locate the Pega system. Now we don't use OpenSpan anymore. And once you find the config file, right click, open it up. Just make sure this robot manager URL is correct and it's enabled to true, RPA to true. Then the authentication type is always basic for RPA machines. Then RPA operator is RPA operator. Work group is the one that you want. If you want to change it, move it from one group to another work group, then you can change it here. So this setting is all seems good for config file. Now go ahead and open up the runtime config file, which is in app data folder. So go to app data, locate Pega system again. Here it's also moved or change it from OpenSpan to Pega system. Then open up the runtime config file, Control F, and look for robotics. In the robotics, change enable to true, SSL to true, port is 9443, that's the default one, and allow origin. Just change it from start.pega.com to just star. JW security is false, we are not using it. And then Pega server URL, which is our basically our robot manager's URL, so that you can use yours. and the package server is the one that we set for package server. So just make sure all the configurations are all good. Save the files and go back to program 86 folder now. Once we are done with updating config file and the runtime config file and common config file, go back to the C drive and program 86. So there is a little change here from the older version to 19.1 version. Now the RPA credentials are entered in program 86. Then look for RPA or the sync server. Not exactly sync server. Just look at the RPA service folder and look for credential manager UI. Double click on it and just enter the registration operator. You can keep the domain as blank and your robot manager operator ID that you want to use as a registration operator ID and the password, click on add. You can do these three things, but we basically need only this registration operator to set up. If you want the have robot manager automatically login or on your runtime machine, then you can supply these additional credentials. So this is how you can set up your robotic runtime machine. So the configuration that you want to change, you need to change it in common config under the server settings, then in the runtime config as below, and your RP credential in program 86 folder, then RPA service folder. So this is how you can set up your Pega Robotic Runtime 19.1 machine. So thanks for watching. See you in next video.